different coins that I think should rightfully make sense to be in a national reserve. Um, and they're very similar coins, or very, what some might say, boring coins, but they would be very effective. And there's very good reason why I believe these three coins should be the ones that make up the reserve, if a reserve is put in place, which it looks like there is a good potential. I think they say at least a 65 to 70% chance that this could happen. I'll give you the three right up front. One would be Bitcoin, of course, two, Litecoin, three, Digibyte. And I'm going to give you the reasons why I believe these three and why I don't believe the other ones should not be in there. Because there's, hundreds of thousands of probably cryptocurrencies by now to choose from. So those three, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte, all have similar properties in that they're all mined, which gives them an inherent value because they use energy. Energy costs money, meaning it costs money to produce these coins, meaning they have at least the value of the energy that it costs to produce the coins. So any coin that is not mined, in my opinion, would be eliminated, because that means they just made up a magic number and threw it up there for the amount of cryptocurrency that they were going to have. Has no intrinsic inherent value. Okay, next, they have been around for, I think if you haven't been, a cryptocurrency hasn't been around for at least 5 years, but preferably 8 or 9 years, that it should not be considered for a strategic reserve, simply because after 5, or even better, 9 years, you've proven longevity, you've proven that your team is there for the long haul. Now, with that in mind, without any hacks, without any major outages, which all three of these coins have proven that they have done. They're decentralized for the most part, especially Bitcoin. We don't even know who or where Satoshi is. The other two coins do have foundations, but to me, that's not a big deal as long as the US government was in contact with them, just to make sure that they weren't planning to do anything different with the coins, which it doesn't look like they're planning on doing. But that would have to be almost like a contract type of a thing that the US government made with Litecoin and Digibyte. So they have the longevity, they have a halving every 4 years, which also gives a supply and demand crunch, which is a decrease in inflation every 4 years, meaning you can't get rug pulled. So if there's another company, say, like, I know I've been talking about XRP a lot, but Ripple owns a ton of XRP. They could easily flood the market with a bunch of it when the US government needs it most. And it's just too, you're putting control of the cryptocurrency too heavily in hands that are not government owned, or beneficial to the government. Too many unknowns. Um, so as far as, now you might say, what about Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, all these other Bitcoin spinoffs, or you know things like that? The reason I say no to those is because cryptocurrency is already confusing for people who have no experience with it. And I could just see too many older people or inexperienced people being scammed. I could easily see a 75-year-old lady saying, "Well, I bought a Bitcoin Gold for $105,000. And then when I tried to sell it, they only wanted to give me $7,000 for it. And it's the same thing, isn't it?" I just, too much confusion. The names are too close. Bitcoin, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin ABC, Bitcoin SV. No, just Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And that's it, because, like I said, too confusing for people who are not familiar with cryptocurrency. It's already confusing enough. Then you have other coins that are mined, like Monero, Zcash, that have limited supplies, same qualities. But the problem with those is they're privacy coins. And to me, I want transparency in government. And if the government can start doing private, hidden transactions, that doesn't work for me. And I don't think it should work for the American people or for the government, because the illusion, whether it's the illusion or not, if they want to keep that illusion alive, the government works for the people don't work for the government. And if the government can do private hidden transactions, then that's not transparency. And I'm against transparency. And that's why I believe that those types of coins should not be in there. Then, as far as other ones like Solana or Ethereum or Chainlink, other big name, what people would consider more blue chip type of cryptocurrencies, I don't think that those should be in there either. Even though I hold some of them and it would do great things for them, the problem is the US government then becomes a market maker. And meaning, if the US government is going to start investing in specific blockchains for building on and things like this, it's going to give them too big of an advantage over other cryptocurrencies who do the same thing. And it's not fair to those other cryptocurrencies that do, similar things, Arbitrum, Polygon, all these, it's not fair to them. You have to give everyone an equal chance. You can't be a market maker as a US government. All right. If anybody has any questions or would like to ask me my opinion or think I'm wrong and tell me why, I'd be glad to make follow-up videos or at least comment back to you in the comments. But as boring as these three coins are, the government can control the price action of these three. And I would recommend, maybe they buy 100 Bitcoin a month, 1,000 Litecoin a month, and 10,000 Digibyte. And maybe they have a policy, something similar to, every time, or not every month, every day, they can buy that much. And once these coins hit, depending on which coin it is, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte, if they hit an all-time high and stay there for more than 3 days, then the government doesn't buy. They just hold. They just hodl. If the price comes down 10% from the all-time high, then they resume buying. If it goes down 20% from the all-time high, then they buy, instead of like 100 Bitcoin, they buy 200 Bitcoin. Or instead of 1,000 Litecoin, they buy 2,000 Litecoin. If the price goes down 30, 40, 50% from the all-time high, goes down, they just keep increasing their amount that they buy daily every time the coin goes down. This gives it more of a base. It keeps the price up. It doesn't let the currency crash. But when it gets to an all-time high, you're not buying at the all-time high. Then as far as selling it to pay off the debt, I don't think, people are going to say, what about just Bitcoin? I don't believe there's enough Bitcoin to pay off the debt, because let's say the government did buy 5 million or 1 million Bitcoin. Bitcoin is already over $100,000, so it's very expensive. It's very costly to get in. The price of Bitcoin would have to go up to $30-40 million per coin to pay off the debt as it stands currently, if they held that much, probably even higher. I just don't think they can hold enough. And then as they sold it to pay off the debt, the price would come down, meaning now they have less money to pay off the debt, would cause panic in the Bitcoin market. Other holders of Bitcoin would start to sell, and it would just tumble down in price quickly, and paying off the debt would be a problem there. But I think if you have three different currencies, ones you can get in cheaper, more at the ground floor, like Digibyte, they can buy a ton of that now. I mean, they can go in and buy 10 million Litecoin tomorrow and 100 million Digibyte tomorrow, and get a huge jump on the market. This will bring excitement and attention to these two coins, and people will start to buy them. Then they can start their daily dollar cost averaging in, and then follow the strategy of buying when it's not at all-time high, and then holding when it's not at all-time high. So, I mean, this is just a philosophy. And yes, Phil, I see you're on here. Bitcoin is the only store of wealth. I agree. So Trump did say, if you remember when he was at the Bitcoin conference, to you never sell your Bitcoin. So if they were going to hold Bitcoin in a strategic reserve, I believe that would be the plan, because he also talked about paying off the debt with a nice crypto check. So I think if he bought the Bitcoin, he would hold that in the reserve. Then he could use the Litecoin and the Digibyte to slowly pay off the debt. I don't think you'd want to sell it all at one time because that would crash the market. Other people who held those two coins would always be on edge. Is the government going to sell now? I think, once it hits a certain dollar amount, maybe the government says, okay, we will sell no more than 10% of our stockpile of these. That way it gives the public confidence that, they won't get rug pulled. The public won't get rug pulled. This also keeps the price going up on these two coins. And it also gives them a way to pay off the national debt. Yeah, I know, a gradual sell, but like I said, I don't think the government can buy enough Bitcoin to pay off. What do we? Are we? I don't even know how much we're in debt. I mean, it's 30 trillion, 60 trillion. It's too much. It's too much. We can't buy enough Bitcoin to pay off the debt. And the amount that we'd need to sell at one time, or even in portions to pay off the debt, wouldn't be enough. I agree, we should buy Bitcoin, but we should hold it in the reserve. But and the other two, the Litecoin and the Digibyte, I believe also hold, but also use to pay down the debt. These are just my thoughts, my opinions. But to me, these are the safest coins. They're boring. They've been around. They all are very similar as far as what they do, what they are, how they're made, how they're halved, and how the government could actually do a bit of price control by the amount that they buy or sell. Um, let's see, even if we can cut the debt in half, that would be huge. That would be huge. That'd be a huge thing. But I think that the government needs to get in on more of a ground floor on one of these coins that's very much like Bitcoin. Like I said, Digibyte is like a penny each. They could buy 100 million more. I mean, a billion. And then when it goes up to, $3, $4, and they can start using that just, to pay off some of the debt. Where if they buy, even if they can buy, a million Bitcoin over the next 5 years, um, if they can get their hands on that much for starters, it would drive the price way up, but it's still not enough to even really cut into the debt if you do the numbers. They need something else that they can get in cheaper, drive the price up faster, and use to pay off the debt, in my opinion. I think it'd be nearly impossible to do with Bitcoin. I think it would be impossible to do with Bitcoin. I think they need a couple other coins in there, but I also don't feel, like I said, that the US should be a market maker. Like the US should be picking and choosing special coins. Uh, I don't know. I really don't, those Digibyte, Litecoin are boring coins. I'm not doing this to shill those coins. I'm just doing this because I feel that these two are very similar to Bitcoin and all their properties, and that the US government can use those to pay off debt and get in cheaper than they can get into Bitcoin. They can hold Bitcoin in the reserve, and they can keep these other two in a reserve, but also to pay off the debt slowly, which I think they'd have a huge problem doing with Bitcoin alone. And then again, the other ones, I don't think they should be market makers. And I think they need transparency, which your privacy coins don't give you. And the other forms of Bitcoin are too confusing to people who are new to cryptocurrency, or older people who maybe don't understand the technology and how it all works. But anyway, guys, I just want to make a short video. Love y'all. Kiss the kids and the wife, and hug the kids, and hug the boyfriend, girlfriend, pet the pets. God bless each and every one of you. Joe Knows Crypto is signing off. You have a blessed day. Bye now. Oops, I started a poll. Sorry. All right, I think this is how I stop this. Stopping the